Hello, it's Willie from the Ozarks, and it is May the 21st, and we're ready for A Course in Miracles workbook for student lesson 141, which is our section on the My Mind Holds Only What I Think with God review. So this will be a review section for the next, I believe, about 10 lessons. Yeah, for the next 10 lessons will be review lessons. And it's the review that my mind holds only what I think with God. We're going to say that every day for the next 10 days. So we're going to really let that one, my mind holds only what I think with God. Well, that is such a wonderful follow-up after our yesterday's lesson. I want to talk a little bit about it before we read our review introduction. Yesterday, only salvation can be said to cure. Only salvation can be said to cure. Cure is not what makes the body better. Did you catch that? The word cure, it's not used for what makes the body better. It refers to the cure refers to the mind that is free from the illusion of the body. You know, he explained in there that how that in this world we think that our mind is somehow housed in the body, in the brain. But he says, no. He said, cure refers to the mind that is free from the illusion of the body. So that was that first paragraph. He just really starts right off saying, you know, what we want, only salvation can be said to cure. That was our lesson. And cure is a word that cannot be applied to any remedy the world accepts as beneficial. So, because it's just varying degrees. Remember how he went on? He said that because in the world, a healing is just you in your dream, you realized that you had a dream you were sick, and now you had a dream that in the dream you found a magic formula that freed you from your sickness, but now you just have another form in the dream. In the dream, healing cannot occur. We must awaken from the dream, is what he's trying to get us to see. Doesn't matter, you know, if you like the dream or if it's a nice dream. I mean, it's better if you have a dream. You might as well have a happy dream, and that's the counter dream the Holy Spirit offers. It's dream too. It's also an illusion, but it's the illusion that ends all illusions. You know, it's when you love everybody, and if you find yourself finding it difficult because you feel vulnerable, well, then you practice forgiveness. You know, let go of the illusion that you're limited. Forgiveness dreams are happy dreams that the Holy Spirit uses to awaken us. All right, that was that. Did you get this? Did you remember this? Do you understand it? Did it become more meaningful to you with your 5-minute morning and 5-minute before you go to sleep meditation, and then your hourly remembrance throughout the day? Only salvation can be said to cure. Speak to us, Father, that we may be healed. Only salvation can be said to cure. And then throughout the day, did you truly ask that you understand? Did you remember a few times to say, speak to me, Father, that I might understand? Help me to understand this. Only salvation can be said to cure. Wow. So it doesn't cure in the dream. It cures, and it says it doesn't cure the sickness. It cures the guilt that made the sickness possible. Amazing. Atonement heals with certainty because it takes away the guilt. That makes sickness, that the guilt is what makes the sickness possible. In this dream, it's like we've got this counter dream that we can dream that's a happy dream. I mean, if we're going to be dreaming anyway, we might as well have a nice one that makes us smile, lets us chuckle more. But we learn to be still and quiet a lot. Man, did you hear how this beautiful ending? Anyway, we'll get to that. Yesterday, I wanted to say several things. That last paragraph, we will feel salvation cover us with soft protection and with peace so deep no illusion can disturb us. You know, we want that, the cure is from holiness. Holiness comes from where guilt is not, which is everywhere, always now. The cured self makes no distinctions among unrealities, knowing they are but idle dreams. It focuses only on what is real. Only on what is real. That's the cured self. And it makes up no distinctions among unrealities. It doesn't pick one it likes, and this one over here it likes a little more. And he's saying, no, to use the word cure, we're just going to set all that illusion aside, and we're going to realize that we are in oneness with God. I don't know how to say it. Salvation. The mind that brings illusions to the truth is really changed. We seek a cure for all illusions, not another shift among them. The source of healing is in our minds. Seek it, and it must be found. Remember how he said that it's as close as our own thoughts? He put it there. Salvation. It's your recognition that you're one with God. It's a realization that no illusion can threaten you, can take your peace and your joy away. Let's look at paragraph 9. We will not be misled today by what appears to us as sick. We go beyond appearances today and reach the source of healing from which nothing is exempt. We will succeed to the extent to which we realize that there can never be a meaningful distinction made between what is untrue and equally untrue. Here there are no degrees and no beliefs that what does not exist is truer in some forms than others. If it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in some forms make you more true than other forms. It just doesn't exist. All of them are false and can be cured because they are not true. See, just amazing. So go beyond appearances to the source of healing from which nothing is exempt. So lay aside illusions and hear the single voice of healing. Speak the truth. Where all illusions end and peace returns to the eternal quiet home of God. The eternal quiet home of God. Got me thinking about how that, I guess stillness and quietness is truly the way to heaven. I mean, he says you can't get much more strong statement. Peace returns to the eternal quiet home of God. Wow. Okay, did you do the 5 minutes of listening morning and 5 minutes again in the evening yesterday? Our preparation, if you did it right, your preparation should have been only to let interfering thoughts be laid aside. We hear him now. We come to him today. Did you do that? Can you say, yes, I let interfering thoughts set aside all illusions. Just set them aside. And just know the truth. Know all truth. Do not cling to the dream of, I'd put here, don't cling to the dream of guilt. Okay? That's what I was thinking along the lines of. But, really it says do not cling to the dream, but with lifted heart and listening minds. With lifted hearts and listening minds. We're not going to cling to the world. Don't cling to any of the illusions that you think you need. And as we're not clinging, we're letting go and have an empty hands, empty heart, or an open heart, a lifted heart, he says, and listening minds. We pray, only salvation can be said to cure. Speak to us, Father, that we may be healed. And we will feel salvation cover us with soft protection and with peace so deep, no illusion can disturb us. All right, so that's where we were headed yesterday. Are you there today? Did you stay there? Okay, now our lesson for today is lesson 141, which is a review of lesson 121 and 122. And we're to say it along with the idea, my mind holds only what I think with God. And lesson 121, 122, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. So we'll come back to that and we'll look at it again before we get too far. But let's read the review. Before we read the review, though, look what I got. I worked out on the farm today, and look what the ones of you who live here in the Ozarks probably know what that is. But I had a thicket of these, and I put I think 30 or some of them in gallon pots today. And these are elderberry, Ozark elderberry. I just called Ozark elderberry. It's probably got a specific name. There's several different types of elderberries. I think these are just the regular elderberry that you think about people making elderberry wine and elderberry preserves. Anyway, elderberry. When I transplant, you lose a lot of roots, at least down here in the Ozarks where it's rocky. And I clip some of the plant off so that I'm balancing more of some of the root that I lost compared to the greenery. And this is a little much green, but it looks like it's doing okay. So anyway, we'll give it a couple of days, see if it looks happy and healthy. If it does, and I'll share it with anybody who wants one. Email me if you want one, or I'll just give you one. I mean, if I've got one. I've got about 30 of them out there. Anyway, review chapter 4. And like I said, this is going to be the review on my mind holds only what I think with God. Now we review again, this time aware we are preparing for the second part of learning how the truth can be applied. Today we will begin to concentrate on readiness for what will follow next. Such is our aim for this review and for the lessons following. Thus we review the recent lessons and their central thoughts in such a way as will facilitate the readiness which we would now achieve. Paragraph 2. There is a central theme that unifies each step in the review we undertake, which can be simply stated in these words: my mind holds only what I think with God. My mind holds only what I think with God. This is a fact and represents the truth of what you are and what your Father is. It is this thought by which the Father gave creation to the Son, establishing the Son as co-creator with himself. It is this thought which fully guarantees salvation to the Son. For in his mind no thoughts can dwell but those his Father shares. Lack of forgiveness blocks this thought from his awareness, yet it is forever true. Lack of forgiveness blocks this thought. What's the thought? My mind holds only what I think with God. For in his mind no thought can dwell but those his Father shares. Lack of forgiveness blocks this thought from his awareness. Yet it is forever true. Isn't that something? We are so blessed to know this information and to also understand how to do true forgiveness, which is, remember, is recognizing what you thought you saw wasn't even real. It was an illusion. And we're healed and cured when we abide in truth instead of an illusion, regardless of how wonderful the illusion is or how bad. We just recognize that it's a form of nothing. Let us begin we want the real world. Okay, I did want to say that. There is a real world and we want that. That's where we abide. That's why we can be peaceful, because in the real world, there is no war. It's heaven. That's the real world. And it's here now. Let us begin our preparation with some understanding of the many forms in which the lack of true forgiveness may be carefully concealed. Because they are illusions, they are not perceived to be, but what they are. Defenses which protect your unforgiving thoughts from being seen and recognized. Their purpose is to show you something else and hold correction off through self-deception made to take its place. Wow. And yet your mind holds only what you think with God. Your self-deceptions cannot take the place of truth, no more than can a child who throws a stick into the ocean change the coming and the going of the tides. The warming of the water by the sun, the silver of the moon on it by night. Isn't that beautiful pictures? So do we start each practice period in this review with readying our minds to understand the lessons that we read and see the meaning which they offer us. I think you could say we're seated in heavenly places with Christ when we realize that my mind holds only what I think with God. We get a little sense of it when we see a little child playing on the ocean, throwing a stick in the water as the tide comes and goes on the warm water. And if you stay out there all evening, and then when the moon comes up, the silver of the moon lighting it by night, well, that's heaven. And or I'm not saying that is heaven. That could be considered heaven. We want to be in that place where we're abiding in the Christ. My mind holds only what I think with God. And all our lessons, our last 20 lessons have been preparing us for this stable footing, this place where we can stay in the real world, in heaven, and not let appearances tempt us to come back to illusions. All right? Begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind to learn what each idea you will review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. Open your mind and clear it of all the thoughts that would deceive, and let this thought alone engage it fully and remove the rest. My mind holds only what I think with God. 5 minutes with this thought will be enough to see the day along the lines which God appointed, and to place his mind in charge of all the thoughts you will receive that day. They will not come from you alone, for they will all be shared with him. And so each one will bring the message of his love to you, returning messages of yours to him. So will communion with the Lord of hosts be yours. And he himself has, or as he himself has willed it be, and as his own completion joins with him, so will he join with you who are complete as you unite with him and he with you. After your preparation, merely read each of the 2 ideas assigned to you to be reviewed that day. Then close your eyes and say them slowly to yourself. There is no hurry now, for you're using time for its intended purpose. Let each word shine with the meaning God has given it, as it was given to you through His voice. Let each idea that you review that day give you the gift which He has laid in it for you to have of Him. And we will use no format for our practicing but this. And he's going to tell us the simple format, which we're going to read in a minute. But I want to bring our attention. What he wants us to do is say, my mind holds only what I think with God, and abide in that for a moment. We're going to have a 5-minute meditation. So, stay a minute there and really feel my mind holds only what I think with God. And then after you feel like you're really there, then you're going to say the 2 ideas, which the first 2 are going to be, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. And now from that place where my mind holds only what I think with God, from that deeper place of holiness and peace and freedom, we're gonna look at those again and let them give us the gift they have. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Okay, and then each hour of the day, bring to your mind the thought with which the day began and spend a quiet moment with it. Then repeat the 2 ideas you practiced for the day unhurriedly, with time enough to see the gifts which they contain for you, and let them be received where they were meant to be. We add no other thoughts, but let them be the messages they are. We need no more than this to give us happiness and rest and endless quiet, perfect certainty, and all our Father wills that we receive as the inheritance we have of Him. And the last paragraph. Each day of practicing, as we review, we close as we began, repeating first the thought that made the day a special time of blessing and of happiness for us, and through our faithfulness restored the world from darkness to the light, from grief to joy, from pain to peace, from sin to holiness. My mind holds only what I think with God. We're going to abide in that all through the day. And we're going to say it every hour. And then after we've said it that hour, and take a moment to let that reflect and do what it did early that morning and what you'll do again in longer form at night, in morning and night, a little longer than during the day every hour. But during that hour, my mind holds on to what I think with God, and then let the things that were happening in that hour be shaded by the truth that's in that. My mind holds only what I think with God. God offers thanks to you who practice thus the keeping of His word. So God's offering us thanks. And as you give your mind to the ideas for the day again before you sleep, His gratitude surrounds you in the peace wherein He wills you be forever, and are learning now to claim again as your inheritance. Wow. His gratitude surrounds you in the peace wherein He wills you be forever, and are learning now to claim again as your inheritance. And what's your inheritance? Your mind holds only what I think with what you think with God. So lesson 141, my mind holds only what I think with God. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. So what we would do, we'd stay there a minute. My mind holds only what I think with God. And let that kind of fall into a quiet place. Might watch your breathing a little. And be at peace. Make sure that there's no dream thoughts or agitation thoughts, and kind of sink down below. And we've learned how to do it already. So let's use it now. Let's drop down below those thoughts. Let's go to that holy place. Remember the holy place where the door opens into the world that we don't ever leave, heaven. Anyway, we're going to get into that quiet place where we remain as God created us. My mind holds only what I think with God. And then from that place, we're going to say, forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. Forgiveness offers everything I want. And then we're just going to let our mind be given a gift. Open it and receive the gift that God has for you. My mind holds only what I think with God. Oh, by the way, yesterday, as you probably realized, and I hope it doesn't happen again today, it took me many hours to upload. So I didn't get this uploaded till late in either the morning or early afternoon. I was having difficulty. I'm not sure exactly. It has happened before. But don't let that stop you from doing your lesson. You go into the Foundation for Inner Peace has there. If you want to just listen to it be read to you, go there. You definitely get the book out. There's you can find it online and read it. I think it's ACIM.org. ACIM.org, and you can read it there if you don't have a book. Anyway, but if don't just because I don't come on in the morning when you're used to it, don't let that don't miss a beep. Just say, oh, I don't have to listen to Will today, or I don't get to listen to Will today. But that's okay because everything's in divine order. Okay. All right. My mind holds only what I think with God. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness offers everything I want. My mind holds only what I think with God.